Friends, Congress is working on 40,000 green cards for 40,000 lucky people. Find out who they are. Stay tuned. Friends, thanks for watching this video. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey. I'm an immigration lawyer in New York, and I'm also the founder of Smart Immigration Academy. If you guys have not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so now, and then hit the notification bell, because each week I publish, well, almost daily I should say, I publish videos about immigration issues and about what's happening on Capitol Hill, stimulus issues, and some other stuff. So you don't want to miss any of those topics. Now, I'm going to talk with you in this video about a very exciting proposal that is on the table right now in the Senate on Capitol Hill that legislators are taken seriously. Now, as usual, I'm going to pull up my notes here, which I have in front of me, my notes on this bill, and I'm going to walk you through the very important aspects of this bill. This bill was just introduced on Capitol Hill on May 5th, 2020. Now, this is S 3599, and it was introduced by Senators Perdue, who is a Republican, Durbin, Democrat, Young, Republican, and Coons, Democrat. And this is called the Health Care Workforce Resilience Act. And the purpose of this legislation, friends, is to enhance our nation's nurse and physician workforce during the COVID-19 crisis. And so this 40,000 green card is going to be made available to nurses and physicians who are outside of America, who are going through an employment-based process. Why? Because of COVID-19. Now, let's talk about how the government is going to make this possible, because you guys probably know that Congress has already set caps on the number of people who can get a green card each year. So where are they getting this 40,000 from? It's a process called recapturing. They're going to recapture unused immigrant visas, visas that have been lost, right, that have never been captured by the person who it was issued to, and they're going to just allocate those unused ones to these nurses and doctors. So here's exactly how it's going to work. Firstly, it's limited to 40,000 employment-based immigrants and their family members such as spouse and children under 21 who are also coming with them to America. And so this is going to be limited to immigrant worker petitions that were filed before the date that is 90 days after the termination of the president's declaration of a national emergency. So these visas will be made available, again, up to 40,000 of these visas, and they're going to be made available for those whose petitions were filed before 90 days after the termination of the president's declaration of emergency around COVID-19. Now, 25,000 shall be reserved for nurses, and 15,000 shall be reserved for doctors, for physicians. The visas that are made available under this subsection, friends, shall not be subject to any of the per country numerical limitations that's set forth in the INA, our immigration laws. Family members who are coming with the physician or the nurse, family members shall also be entitled to have the same status as the principal, and so they're going to have the same status as lawful permanent resident. Now, visas described in this clause shall be made available from a pool of recaptured, unused immigrant visas, as I've stated before. Now, premium processing. So how fast is this going to move? Because if we're talking about a national emergency that we're under right now, obviously they want to speed this along, right? And you guys know that things can be really slow at USCIS and also at the State Department. So according to this legislation, premium processing will be available for these petitions. And so according to the legislation, USCIS shall expedite the shipping of each petition to the State Department, because once USCIS approves it, it has to go over to the State Department for consular processing to begin. And so the legislation says that USCIS must quickly do the work, and once the individual has submitted all of the required evidence and such, that USCIS must then ship things over to the State Department right away. And then once it's at the State Department, expedited processing is also required for applications that are described under this legislation. And so, friends, the last thing that I'd like to share about this legislation is in Clause 5 here, which says before an immigrant visa is issued to an alien, a job offer letter is going to be required, and that letter has to be presented to the consular officer during the interview that indicates that the person that is being hired for this job in a hospital or clinic or wherever they're coming to work, that person will not displace a U.S. worker. So that letter is required from the employer during the consular interview. And so, friends, I looked today, I tracked the legislation to see where it's at, and it's just still in the committee. It's in the Senate Judiciary Committee. No action has been taken yet on this. It was just introduced. Firstly, it was introduced on the Senate floor, and then it was referred over to the Senate Judiciary Committee for further action. And just a refresher, nothing happens on Capitol Hill outside of the committee process. Every bill has to go through the committee process, and once the committee votes out on that bill, it then goes back to the floor for a vote by the body. So in a nutshell, this 40,000 green cards are going to be made available once Congress acts on this. 40,000 green cards will be made available to nurses and physicians, and premium processing and expedited processing is all part of this. And this is a bipartisan proposal. It was introduced by 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats, and that's always an excellent start on Capitol Hill. Friends, thanks so much for watching this video. I'm going to keep you posted on this and other proposals. Be sure to share this with others, particularly others who are healthcare workers who are going through the immigrant process in their country. Friends, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.